You were taught to earn respect, to be kind, fair, and patient. But what if I told you that the more you chase respect, the more people quietly devalue you? In a world ruled by hidden power games, the true masters never ask for respect. They make others fear the cost of disrespect. Today, we'll unveil the Machiavellian strategy that turns quiet strength into an untouchable force. Where no one dares cross you, not out of love, but out of fear. Niccolo Machiavelli, feared philosopher, political ghost, and eternal tactician. His world was not built on fairy tales or blind virtue, but on the cold, sharp mechanics of power. Today we descend into the mind of the master and expose a forgotten truth, that true power does not beg for respect. It creates consequences so grave, no one risks crossing it. This is not about arrogance. It's about survival in a world that respects only what it fears. Welcome to the darker edge of respect. You have been taught that to be respected, you must be good, polite, accommodating. You are fed the lie that kindness earns loyalty and that fairness inspires devotion. But tell me, when have you ever seen a lion ask the sheep to respect him? The truth is far more brutal. Respect that is requested, that is begged for, that is asked gently, is never real. It is fragile. It is given out of pity. And in time, it is forgotten. Because when people respect you only when you are useful or only when you are kind, then that respect is nothing more than a shallow convenience. A mask they wear until the moment you no longer serve their purpose. Then the truth emerges. They never respected you. They merely tolerated you. The Machiavellian mind understands, never chase respect. Never lower your posture to ask for what must be felt in the gut. Respect built on admiration fades. Respect built on fear endures. Not fear of violence, not fear of chaos. No, a more refined fear. The fear of losing access to you. The fear of being ignored by you. The fear of the unknown consequences that may unfold if they cross a line they do not fully understand. That is the power we speak of today. In the court of power, you must never allow others to think their respect is something you need, because the moment they sense that hunger, they realize they can starve you. And once they know they can starve you, they become your master. But if instead they fear disrespecting you, if they understand even without words that there is a line that must not be crossed, then you are no longer just a person. You become a force, a figure, an unpredictable variable in their psychological world. Fear is more efficient than love. It is clearer. It is cleaner. It demands no explanation. A single look, a silence at the right moment, a calm withdrawal. All can strike more terror than 1,000 pleas for understanding. This does not mean becoming cruel. No. Cruelty is reckless. Cruelty is amateur. The true Machiavellian is composed, cold, measured. He understands that the shadow of punishment is more terrifying than punishment itself, that a reputation for consequence is more powerful than speeches about value. When you operate with this energy, people begin to speak about you in whispers. They speak not of how kind you are, but how dangerous it might be to lose your favor. They begin to correct their tone in your presence. They double-check their words before speaking, not because you have demanded respect, but because you have created an atmosphere where disrespect carries a cost, even if it's never spoken aloud. And in that moment, you are no longer in the game of respect. You are the board on which the game is played. They only fear what is punished. This is a brutal truth, one that society has tried to wrap in velvet and conceal under moral sermons. But the Machiavellian sees through the veil. He knows that the cornerstone of real authority is not kindness, it is not inspiration. It is the power to make those who wrong you pay a price, silently, cleanly, and without ever raising your voice. You see, when someone disrespects you and you respond with silence, not the calm silence of power, but the weak silence of discomfort, you confirm their belief that you are harmless. You tell them, without words, "You may step on me again," and they will. Because disrespect, once unpunished, spreads like fire through dry grass. The mistake most men make is believing that dignity is preserved by avoiding conflict. But in doing so, they teach the world how to treat them. And that lesson is irreversible. People will test you, not because they hate you, but because they want to understand your boundaries. If those boundaries collapse under pressure, you are not seen as wise, you are seen as soft. And softness invites domination. This is why punishment, not cruelty, but calibrated punishment, is essential, not as a weapon of revenge, but as a message that says you crossed a line, and lines have consequences. The Machiavellian does not scream, he does not whine, he does not seek public justice, he simply makes one move, and the other person feels it. It may be a loss of access, it may be a subtle sabotage, it may be a shift in tone so sharp it cuts through the mask they were wearing, but the message is always the same. I saw your disrespect, and I responded not with emotion, but with precision. This is where real fear is born, not in the moment of punishment, but in the uncertainty it creates. Once someone feels that misstepping with you carries hidden consequences, not always immediate, not always visible, but always present, they begin to treat you differently, more cautiously, more carefully. They no longer speak to you as if they own you. They no longer laugh at your silence. They begin to weigh their words, measure their actions, and adjust their behavior. Because they have felt, even slightly, the sting of being on the wrong side of your attention. This is how reputations are forged, not through declarations, but through response. Through calibrated reactions that send a ripple through the fabric of social interaction. People begin to talk. They say things like, "Don't mess with him, he never forgets." Or, "She won't say anything, but she'll show you." That is the power of unspoken consequence. That is the art of controlled punishment. Most people are terrified of being disliked, but the Machiavellian is indifferent. He does not care to be liked, he cares to be remembered, and more importantly, never underestimated, because to be underestimated is to be placed beneath others. And once that happens, respect is no longer a conversation. It's a eulogy. They don't need to see your sword. They just need to believe you carry one. This is the true nature of control. Not brute force, but perception. The Machiavellian understands that fear is not always born from action, but from possibility, from what you might do, what you could unleash if provoked. And that possibility is often more terrifying than any visible threat, because power, when obvious, invites rebellion, but power shrouded in mystery commands obedience. Most people try to be respected by putting their virtues on display, their intelligence, their credentials, their charm. But the moment you show your entire hand, you become predictable. You are no longer a threat. You are now understandable, and anything that is understood completely can be controlled. The true operator never reveals all of himself. He cultivates rumors. He allows whispers. He builds a mythology around his silence and lets others imagine what lies behind it. In this game, imagination is your most lethal weapon. Let them wonder how far you're willing to go. Let them whisper about that one person who crossed you and never fully recovered. Let them believe that behind your calm face is a storm waiting for an excuse to strike. Because the fear of your reaction, not your actual reaction, is what creates space around you. It's what forces people to self-regulate in your presence. And when people begin to police their own behavior just to avoid your invisible wrath, you have already won. People don't need evidence of your power. They need to feel it. This is the psychology of deterrence. You don't need to attack. You simply need to hold the posture of someone who might. The lion does not roar to hunt. He roars to remind the jungle of who he is. And sometimes, silence is the loudest roar of all. The Machiavellian mind uses absence as a tool. It is not always what you say, it is what you withhold, what you don't respond to, what you walk away from. Your unpredictability becomes your protection, because if they cannot anticipate your next move, they are always on the back foot, and a person who is uncertain is a person who obeys. This illusion of capability is more efficient than actual confrontation, because when you fight openly, you reveal your strategy. But when you remain still, untouched, and unmoved, people begin to construct their own nightmares around what might happen next. That is where fear becomes a permanent architecture in their mind. You must become the figure in the room that people lower their voices around, not because you intimidate with noise, but because they are unsure how you might respond. And it's that uncertainty, that lingering doubt, that will command more respect than any demand ever could. Your greatest weapon is implication, not declaration. If they believe you are capable of ruin, if they believe you hold the strings to something darker, if they suspect you see more than you say, then you will never need to remind them of your power. They will carry that reminder in every interaction, in every decision, in every hesitation before they speak your name. They lose power the moment they know you care. This is the hidden trap that devours men in silence. The need for validation, the craving for recognition, the desperate hunger for approval wrapped in a disguise of humility. Most people live in a performance. Every action, every word, every choice, driven by the silent hope that someone is watching, someone is impressed, someone is offering the elusive drug called validation. But once others know you need their respect, they gain a leash, a psychological chain, and they will pull it, gently at first, then cruelly, because dependence always breeds manipulation. The Machiavellian breaks that cycle at the root. He detaches. He does not chase approval, because he knows that needing anything from anyone places you below them. To need is to kneel, and once you kneel, your dignity is no longer a gift. It is a favor they can revoke. There is a strange magnetism in detachment. When you do not seek to impress, when you remain unaffected by praise or criticism, when you move through the world as though nothing they say can sway your course, people begin to adjust around you. Not out of love, but out of confusion, out of fear, out of respect born not from warmth, but from mystery. They begin to fear that they've offended you. Even when you say nothing, they begin to try harder. Because your indifference is more unnerving than anger, your silence more dangerous than outrage. You must understand, the more emotionally detached you appear, the more others project power onto you. That projection becomes your armor. You become difficult to read, and in that difficulty, you gain control. The person who cannot be predicted cannot be manipulated. The one who shows no need creates desire in others to earn what he withholds. It is a paradox, but one you must master. The more you pull away, the more they come closer. The more you seem immune to their opinions, the more they try to shape them in your favor. You are not playing their game. You are watching it unfold while they chase a response that never comes. And this is what separates the ordinary from the dangerous. The ordinary man wants to be seen. The dangerous man is content being misunderstood because he knows perception is a weapon and silence is its sharpest blade. The ordinary man needs applause. The dangerous one walks off the stage before the crowd can decide whether to clap or criticize. You must become that figure. Unreachable. Calm. Uninvested in their acceptance. Not because you are arrogant, but because you have seen what validation does to the weak. It poisons the soul. It softens the will. It breeds a dependence that cannot be concealed, no matter how noble the words sound on the outside. When you detach from the need to be respected, you become something else entirely, a presence that is felt but never held. And in that distance, in that void, they feel something far more powerful than affection. They feel uncertainty. They feel the fear that comes from realizing they have no grip on you at all. You are told to chase respect, to earn it, to plead for it with your goodness, your patience, your sacrifice. But today, you've seen the truth buried beneath centuries of moral fiction, that true respect does not come when you ask for it. It comes when they fear what happens if they withhold it. Respect earned through kindness is delicate. It bends, it breaks, it fades the moment you show weakness. But respect forged in fear, not fear of violence, but of consequence, of your silence, of your cold withdrawal. That respect is carved into the minds of those who meet you. Let them think you are unpredictable. Let them believe you carry unseen power. Let them wonder what price they'll pay for stepping out of line. Because in that uncertainty, you become untouchable. Do not demand respect. That is for the powerless. Become the kind of person it is dangerous to disrespect. Not because you raise your voice, but because you never need to. That is Machiavelli's final gift to those who no longer wish to be liked, but to be remembered.